All right.
Did you get my starting it up?
I'm ignoring it. I'm trying to let you get it all out before I click.
My motorcycle.
Okay, I'm gonna start it.
Okay.
Let's get started.
It's telling me that it has started.
Yep, I see people filtering in.
Cool. Great.
Hello, everyone. People coming in. I see some members. Hello, everyone. If you want to use the chat, feel free to introduce yourself, your business. Well, I'll kind of explain these tools as we go along, but throw in your Instagram handles, introduce yourself, do that chat feature at the bottom.
What does the raised hand mean?
I don't know if it's, I think it's a raised hand, but I think.
Or just like a hello. Hello.
Yeah, what do the emojis mean? Cast your votes.
Yeah.
I think it's hello.
I've been doing the handshake recently, like the thumb hug. So you go like hand to hand and then you wrap the thumb around.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if anyone does that, or it's the style of the day.
I realized everyone's, because the chat's disabled. Hang on, I will enable that.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like there's some.
Yep, I see that the chat is disabled. Give me 1 second to enable it. You not enable it by chance? No way, it's always automatically enabled.
I just put something in the chat, but I don't know if that's just for the hosts.
Yeah, let me. Okay, thanks for flagging that, everyone. It should be enabled now. Cool, yay, okay.
All right, cool.
Okay, now everyone introduce yourself to the chat.
See, I guess we'll give it like a couple more minutes,
Yep,
Rebecca,
okay.
or
Yeah,
maybe
we'll give
like
another minute or two.
Cool.
I see we have a lot of businesses coming through. Great. Oh, hi, Deanna, just a member here. Okay, it looks like we have some folks coming through. So why don't we go ahead and get started? This is being recorded, so people miss it, we can always send it out to them. But welcome everyone. I am Rebecca. I'm the Director of Marketing here at NextFab. Today we're going to be focusing on the Artisan Accelerator, kind of answering questions, kind of going over what we're looking for in some of our applicants. With us today is Ben Fries. He is the North Philly Community Manager. He also runs our Artisan Accelerator program. So he's going to be the one to kind of answer your questions, kind of get some insight on that. So just to kind of go over our format really quickly. So we're going to spend about 30 minutes of Ben's going to run through his presentation, kind of explain exactly what the accelerator is, like I mentioned, what we're looking for in folks. You guys, it looks like you guys are doing a good job with the chat function, but feel free to use that throughout the entire time together here. Ask your questions, introduce yourself. We do have that Q&A feature as well. We are going to spend about 30 minutes at the end just answering those questions, but feel free to put them in throughout the chat and we'll get those, or the Q&A, we'll get to those at the end of the session. Again, this will be recorded and we're going to send out this recording afterwards to everyone that subscribe to this. That way, if you miss anything, we'll send out the presentation as well. And of course, you can always reply to that email with any questions you had forgotten about. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce everyone to Ben. He is a community manager here at NextFab. In addition to facilitating the Artisan Accelerator program, he manages our rentable studio spaces at our North Philly location. He teaches classes, workshops, and maintains all the equipment. And then with our Artisan Accelerator program, he focuses on accelerating the craftsmanship of the makers, products, facilitating effective dialogue within the group, and pushing towards the things that make to build viable companies. Welcome, Ben.
Rebecca, thank you for the introduction here. I'm glad you got my name correct.
Freeze, not fries.
Yes, it's classic cool. Case. So yeah, the goal for today is to answer any of the questions that you may not have found online and to give you much more detail about what this program is geared toward and for you to see if it's the right fit for you and your business. So how it's going to go, like Rebecca said, is I'll give a 30-minute presentation that covers kind of some of the basics of what the program is, what we're looking for in an applicant, kind of the scheduling of the program. We do kind of want folks to be as fully engaged as they can be, while still maintaining a peaceful work-life balance, but it is a relatively intense 8 weeks. So we really ask that if you are committing to participate in the program, that you kind of make the time for it. Because if you don't attend all the sessions, information will get lost, you have to catch back up, and it is kind of a little bit, it disrupts the flow of information that we've kind of put together and curated for this 8-week course. So I'll go through this presentation and then we'll leave a healthy amount of time for questions about really if the program is a good fit for you, any specific questions that you have about your specific business and if you would be a good fit. And really, it's kind of an open forum for discussion. So I look forward to that at the end of this webinar. So without further ado, we're recording this. Okay, it's good. I'm going to dive into the presentation. And Rebecca is going to be monitoring the Q&A section of the Zoom. So if you do have any questions in the moment, please ask them in the moment and Rebecca will monitor them and we will circle back to them at the end of the presentation. So if you have things that are top of mind when I'm on a specific slide of the presentation, feel free to ask them in that moment and then we'll circle back to them at the end. If that makes sense for everyone, because I know I'll be presenting some things and something may come up and you might want to ask it right away. So don't hesitate to do that. That's why we got team here working the Zoom tools. So I will share my screen and Rebecca, maybe you can give me a affirmative that it's visible.
Yep.
We're good? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Excellent. So slideshow. So this is brief presentation about the NextFab Artisan Accelerator and the version that we're going to be curating and presenting to folks in the fall of 2022. So who am I? Rebecca told you a little bit about who I am. In reference to this program, I am kind of the coordinator between the instructors that we bring in and the folks that we accept into the program. So I am kind of doing all the communications, scheduling, making sure that everyone knows when the sessions are for the week, making sure all of the supplementary materials that the instructors provide is distributed among the group. Giving y'all another component of it is to give y'all a forum to just kind of chat with one another. We've been using Google Chat for that. So oftentimes, in addition to the things that I'm sharing that the instructors provide, the folks in the cohort will just share resources with one another, what kind of like market events they're doing, what kind of strategies they're experimenting with on social media. So we like to give a forum, just the open chat for folks to discuss things digitally. And we also I'll curate the repository of supplementary materials on Google Drive. So we'll have any of the worksheets, any of the PDFs or workbooks that the instructors present, we'll have them all on the drive for you so you can access them at your leisure. So Rebecca touched on this a little bit. I'm the community manager here at the North Philly location. And so other than the Artisan Accelerator, my main focus is working with small business owners in the studio spaces that we have at the North Philadelphia location. So I'm specifically on site at this location, but this program aims to support folks not only from the North Philadelphia location, but also at our South Philly location and also at our Wilmington, Delaware location. So we look for applicants in kind of the tri-state area, PA, New Jersey, Delaware, and other areas, if they can make it to our spaces physically, that's kind of the area that we're looking to serve. So this location spans across, this program spans across locations. So I am a maker myself. Some of my work most of my work is primarily out of wood, but I do have a background in metal fabrication. And some of my pieces here, this is a bench that I made. This is a table of lighters that I've collected over the years that I made. So that's a welded frame and some woodworking and a piece of glass. And another one of my interests include kind of blending or bringing objects from a sketch or just actually building one of them to building multiple. So this chair was a project of mine where I built it once just kind of by hand and then brought all the design into CAD and did a lot of the work on the CNC, the computer controlled router that we have at the North Philly location. So I feel like this was an important project for me just to understand how you can effectively make multiples of something, which I think is incredibly important for running an artisan business. So just to give you a brief overview of what NextFab is, and I'm sure that some of the members here who are current members know what NextFab is, but this is just a brief kind of overview to bring the folks that may not be familiar with us into kind of our way of thinking about what we're doing here. So NextFab was founded in 2009 by Evan Malone with the goal of making innovation accessible and empowering people to bring tangible improvements to the world. So we have 3 locations, 2 in Philadelphia and 1 in Wilmington. And our facilities combine traditional tools with digital technology. So we have that CNC, ShopBot CNC that I mentioned that I used to cut out some pieces for that chair. We have a fleet of laser cutters. We also have some other tools that you might not have in your home shop. So we have a spray booth at both of our Philadelphia locations, and we have some industrial sewing equipment at the North Philly location. So the intention is to provide these tools that there are a little bit of a financial barrier to purchase on your own, and kind of be that stepping stone between you not having these tools to you potentially purchasing your own laser cutter, your own CNC, breaking out on your own, having your own facility. So we're trying to be that middle area. And in addition to equipment access, we offer design consultation, small batch production and device, and a network of resources that we've built over the years that we've been in business. So our main goal with this program is to help the budding artisan entrepreneur by providing access to business education, equipment, and professional services. So that's specifically the goal of the Artisan Accelerator program. So what is it? It's 8 weeks. We run it twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall, and we accept 6 to 8 entrepreneurs per cohort. This is the 5th instance of the current format in terms of the content that we're curating. So we have proven this program to work and be beneficial to the participants that go through it. So this is our 5th version. So we're kind of like stoked that it's working to the extent that it is. And the program combines the 8 weeks of business consulting with a complimentary NextFab membership. So you get access to the physical spaces that we have in Philadelphia and Wilmington. And the alumni of the program, so just to give you an idea of who we're looking for, are folks that are making tangible products, physical goods. So you could be a woodworker, you could be a silversmith, you could be a textile artist, leather worker, metal worker, paper artist, visual artists, and there have been others, but this is just a short list of who we accept. But the basis of this list or the common thing that all these folks have is that they're making physical, tangible products. So that's something that is kind of a requirement for this program. You're not selling a service. You're not doing things other than making physical products. So the application deadline is the 22nd, and the program starts about a month later, September 21st. The program ends on November 18th, and the core of the program is 2 to 3 virtual meetings per week. And we usually do them Monday from 12 to 2, Wednesday from 5 to 7, and Friday from 2 to 4. So for some of you that applied, we're reviewing your applications right now. For anyone that applies after this session, we review your application. And if it's a strong application, we invite you to an interview. And in that interview, we'll kind of discuss more about your business, if this program would be a good fit, and also if you can make the sessions. Oftentimes, we want you to make as many sessions as possible. So we definitely kind of want to make sure that you'll be a good participant, and the cohort will be kind of strong because everyone will show up to the meetings. So we do the 2 to 3 meetings a week. They vary in their format. We have 3 teams of instructors that provide the core of the program, and they all kind of have varying methods of delivery. The weekly roundtable meetings are kind of a conversation between there is an instructor or kind of a leader who's like driving the conversation, but we also find that having a more conversational format with everyone sharing what they're going through on their day-to-day, and it helps everyone relate to one another, and it builds the kind of cohort mentality and the willingness to rely and talk about, the problems that you're facing in your business as openly as possible. So those weekly roundtable meetings, I think, are kind of the most powerful part of the program. They also help keep you accountable to what you're doing in your business. So we do ask you to set weekly goals, and we revisit those goals to see if you achieve them. And if you did, we're stoked, like, let's set another one. But if you didn't, we'll examine the goal and see maybe why it didn't work and how we can kind of refine our goal setting process to make, these little improvements, these little goals over time. And that will, contribute to the big picture of your business. We also have a team of instructors that work more on activity and worksheet kind of planning. So they have a few tools such as the business model canvas and the value proposition canvas that they present to you, and then they kind of workshop through the worksheet with you to kind of give you visibility about who you're working with, what your key resources are, what your channels of distribution are, and it really kind of gives you on a more granular level of what you're actually doing with your business. So those activities are super, super helpful. And we also have single meetings or just one-off meetings plus some office hours sometimes with a few specific subject matter experts. So we have a lawyer that we bring in to talk about, say, for example, you're hiring your first employee and you need to know some of the labor laws. You can come with questions for the lawyer and ask them specifically about if you're going for your first hire, what you're kind of doing with that. We do have a rough template about what the lawyer reviews. It's sometimes, but also we encourage everyone to bring their own questions about specifically what they're going through. But we also review kind of contracts, like what to look for when you're kind of like signing a contract, some kind of red flags. Also copyright, patent and trademark. It's usually a topic that we discuss. And yes, it's kind of a mix of a template that we have put together, but then everyone's encouraged to bring their own questions. So we also, in addition to the lawyer, we do a meeting with an accountant, so a CPA that specializes in tax law. So that's kind of pretty critical to any fledgling or new business, is kind of figuring out if you're going to be a sole proprietor, if you're going to be an LLC, what kind of legal entity you're going to operate under, and what kind of tax structure you're going to operate under. So the CPA meeting is usually extremely helpful to the folks of the group. And then we also have a meeting with a digital marketing consultant where she presents on kind of social media, Google Ads, successful marketing campaigns, and really focusing on how to build your sales funnel to wherever you're selling, whether that's on Instagram, Etsy, in person, physical or digital, whatever your kind of main area of wherever you're transacting the most, kind of getting your customers to go to that area. And we're also always open to suggestions from the group that we accept. We do have a network of resources that we can, or a network of people that we can tap to kind of come in and do specific presentations or discussions on different topics. So we kind of also leave the open door for feedback about what we should add to the program. And that can be generated in the meetings or through the chat or just through the evolution of the cohort. So in addition to the business component, we do offer access to the equipment NextFab provides. So that can be a great bonus for people who need to use kind of some of the more high dollar technologically advanced machines that we have here. So I kind of covered some of the topics and areas in discussing the folks that we bring in to speak at the program. But some of I talked about the tax, the marketing and sales, the legal, the digital marketing folks also come in and talk about e-commerce. So where to be selling your work, how to set that up, whether you're selling through Instagram or Shopify or other online platforms. And we also do a large section on customer discovery. So really, there's an activity that we do where you have to go out and interview your customers, and you need to, we give you a script of some questions that you can ask them, and you can also put your own questions on there to just figure out who this person is. And we encourage you to do a number of these, but if you do a few, that's okay. It just kind of gives you an idea of who your customer is, and you can make some inferences based on who your customer is about what kind of direction you should be pursuing with your product, if you should be making different product, if you should be kind of creating small variations on a single product, which is a common route that people go. So you can not only, sell your, for example, your woven textile, but you could potentially also sell kits that someone could make their own textile in a similar way. So you're kind of broadening out a single product instead of kind of reinventing the wheel and making something brand new. So there are some testimonials from the folks that have been through the program, and they're all generally positive. The one that I have listed on the very top here that Breck from Breck Built wrote is kind of where we position this program, in that we're kind of targeting artists and artisan craftsmen makers who haven't gotten some of the business training that they need when they're conducting business. So this is kind of where we're positioning this program. I won't read through all of these, but if you will share the presentation out, I believe tomorrow, and if you can check out the testimonials, and there's also some more on the Artisan Accelerator homepage where you can apply as well. So yeah, we've been, just to give you a little bit of history about the program, we kind of piloted this right when the pandemic was kind of beginning. And the original intention was to kind of help our community get more knowledge about how to sell, since everything was shut down, how to sell effectively online. So doing kind of more e-commerce, because a lot of the markets, a lot of the face-to-face interactions were greatly reduced. So that's kind of how it was conceptualized. But then we kind of started to expand from the e-commerce to more general kind of business practices, because as we went through this, the folks that we would meet needed not only help in that area, but also, needed to talk to a lawyer, and needed to talk to a CPA, needed to talk to folks that were kind of, or needed to be provided a format and a time and an open forum to talk to folks that were in their specific situation, because not everyone is doing this. Not everyone is making a thing, putting a huge amount of themselves into it and then going out and selling that thing. It's not, your typical kind of, not everyone is having that experience. So what we figured out is this kind of cohort, the small number of people in the cohort, really leads to kind of making some of those really powerful conversations. So that's kind of how it evolved. And I think that the most recent article that we got in the Inquirer about the techie makerspace is we're kind of transitioning to supporting not only kind of tech hardware companies, startups, but also the startup artisan business. So we've realized that that's a large portion of our customer base, and there's a lot of that going on in Philadelphia, and it's something that we're aiming to support with this program. So who's eligible? This is on the website and some of the content that we've put out around the program, but I'll just read it off here just so we're all on the same page. So we want you to be selling custom, handmade, and unique goods that you're making by hand, or maybe you have a employee, you have a team, you or your team are designing in-house and building these things by hand. We'd like you to be generating between $100 and $5,000 in sales per month. So what that means for us is that you've already made your first sale. You're already kind of in business. If you don't qualify, if you're close, if you're a little bit more than 5,000, or say, for example, you have a bunch of products but haven't made your first sale yet, I would still encourage you to apply just to kind of get the experience of going through the application. And who knows, you may actually be what we are looking for with the program. But generally, we'd like you to be already selling at a small kind of small to medium dollar amount per month. But if you are making or haven't made your first sale yet, or you're selling a little bit more than $5,000, I would still encourage you to apply, because we want to work with as many people as we can with this program. And in terms of if you're working full time on this project, we'd like you to be working full time or looking to make it your full time thing. So you're committing to kind of like going down this path. So that is who is eligible. And I have some folks that we've worked with. This work down here, this is Cole Fiore from Philly Plastico. He was accepted into the spring 2022 instance of this program. And his business is he takes he recycles these types of plastics, and he makes them into these home goods, houseware kind of items. So he does clocks, he does coasters. I think he's trying to expand into doing like iPhone holders. So he's doing a number of different products based on this process of upcycling or recycling the plastics that would have been recycled or probably more than likely put into the landfill. So that's it. One person that has been through this program. Another person that has been through this program is Richie Lopez, and that's kind of this hand-done embroidery over here. So Richie kind of went through the program, and I think just recently he got a grant from the I think it's called the Illuminate the Arts grant after graduating from the program. And he, in conversations with him, he attributed some of the willingness to go out there and fight for these grants and to get them to the program. So that's ultimately what we're looking for. Is we haven't figured out a way to exactly inject funding into small artisan business directly, but we want to do our best to give you the foundations and the organizations that will potentially give you grant money. You can get an infusion of capital. You can spend that on buying a new piece of equipment, stocking up on product, making a new website. That's another goal of this program, is to kind of get you in touch with capital and get you either in touch with someone who's doing very low interest loans, do some kind of crowdfunding, or do some kind of project where you're writing some kind of grant to get money for your business. So that is another component of the program that we put together a session for the spring of this year, just because that was a need that was being expressed by pretty much everyone. We need, the money's tight, we need more capital to run this business. So that's something we're actively working on infusing into the program. And I think for the fall, we're going to do a grant writing workshop So I think that'll be great for some of you that are doing more visual art or installation art or like that type of work. But we also will probably do a session with some lenders that do, very low interest loans if you're interested in doing that route. So kind of there's a few different areas which you could pursue to get funding for your business. And what our goal is just show you what is out there and what's available. So some of you have already applied, but for those that have not, you can go to nextfab.com/grow/Artisan Accelerator. And when you apply, your applications go into a database. We review the applications. For the folks that already have applied, we're in the process of reviewing your applications right at this moment. If you're a strong applicant, we will invite you to a 30-minute video chat or phone interview where we'll just talk through some questions and kind of get to know you a little bit better. After that, there's a larger selection committee on the NextFab team that will go through the top 20 applicants, and we'll distill that down to 6 to 8 folks that are invited to participate in the program. So just to kind of restate our goals about what this program is trying to support is we want to support local small artisan businesses in the tri-state making community. We want to keep the artistic talent that we have in Philadelphia local. So we don't want folks moving to New York or LA. I mean, congratulations if you do go over there, but we much would rather have you stay in Philadelphia and Wilmington, because I think part of what makes Philadelphia interesting for me is that there is kind of a vibrant art scene, whether that be music or film or kind of the artisanal craft makers that we're talking about specifically here. And this program, I talked a little bit about the evolution of it, but we really want to tune this thing in to provide you services that meet your needs. So if you get accepted into the program, we're open to any kind of suggestions about what NextFab could do in the program or just our services in general that would kind of help you grow your business and stay, at NextFab and also in the Philadelphia or Wilmington area. And ideally through this program, if you go through the business component of it, you get something from that, but you also find something with our facilities, whether that be a specific person that becomes a mentor to you or a specific tool that accelerates one part of your process. That's kind of what we're going for here, and that you kind of stay on with NextFab and you stay in our kind of community. So those are the goals that we have for the program. And I think we're doing a pretty good job meeting them this current juncture. So if you did not get accepted for this round, just know that we take a wide array of factors into consideration to create the most robust cohort possible. So we don't want to take on 8 people that are making jewelry. We don't want to take on 8 people that are woodworkers. We want to kind of create a diverse cohort in terms of practice, in terms of what location they are geographically, in terms of how much time you've been spending with your business. We've had some folks that, have been doing their business for like 2 years and that we've accepted into the program, but we've also have some folks that this is their like 3rd month in business. So we want people that are kind of at different time frames, just because that diversity of experiences creates great conversation. So don't be discouraged if you don't get accepted. We sometimes have to turn down strong applications in order to create the most robust cohort possible. We will also share, this presentation will go out, but at the end of the application window, we also put together a curated list of small business development resources and centers in Philadelphia and Delaware that we will send to you. And if there's any questions about those resources, you can, my email is out there. We also have the artisan@nextfab.com email, which is kind of a catch-all. And if you have any questions, we want to kind of be a resource for you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I also want to just talk about this webinar series. Rebecca and Anna and Bob, or the rest of our sales and marketing team, do a great job curating events that are webinar events that are very focused this year on the kind of artisan demographic. So if you go on that Eventbrite link, there's I think the last one that y'all did was how one of our members did a really successful, I think it was Kickstarter or a crowdfunding campaign, and he kind of discussed how he went about doing that and how it got funded and kind of what that whole process was like. So a lot of these topics are very relevant. They're free, and Rebecca and the team do a great job at putting those together. So I'll just plug those. And we sometimes tap folks from our community to speak on these webinars because of the success that they've experienced. And that was Kai Van. He's from T-Charge, makes these little book nooks. That was he was the last speaker at one of the webinars for the talking about crowdfunding. So he was a member and he had this great success story. All right, so that's the end of the rote presentation that I have, and I guess I can open the floor to questions here.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. That was great.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. So I'm just going to run through. Feel free to keep dumping those questions either in the chat or into the question answer. A bunch came through, as well as some actually came through our pre-submit questions. I'm actually going to run through those first. So first question was, how do you determine who's accepted into the program? You kind of answered that a little bit, but if there's anything else you want to add.
Yeah, I can speak on that a little bit. Yeah, so like I said, we want you to be generating sales. And what if you are like right on the cusp of selling or just a little bit over the threshold that have listed the $100 to $5,000, you can absolutely apply. And we want folks that are making goods that they could make at NextFab. So that is kind of, unfortunately, it's tough for us to kind of work with glass artists or ceramicists or folks that we don't have the facilities to support. So that's kind of, it's a bummer that we don't, I want to work with those specific fields, but one of the components of the program is we want to get you into NextFab and working with our equipment. So it's kind of a bittersweet thing that I can't, I want to work with ceramicists, but it's kind of hard for us to do so. But I would also say that some of the folks that, if we don't have the facilities to do it, there are kind of different avenues that say someone who is a ceramicist could use our mold making area, could do some different things with our facilities. So yeah, that's kind of the things that we're looking for, is that you're kind of local, you can make it into our facilities, that you've been selling or are on the cusp of selling, and that you're kind of doing this by hand. We don't kind of want people that are like buying things from like Alibaba and reselling them. Like, we don't really want that type of business. We don't really want someone who's selling like doing a service or not making something physical. So yeah, I think that kind of about answers that one. Yeah, I would say,
yeah, for sure. Okay, the next question: are food artisans eligible for this program?
Are what?
Food artisans.
I would say it's not ineligible, but not exactly who we're targeting. It would depend on kind of what your needs for your business currently are. Like we have had some folks that do run food producing businesses. We have, call him the pasta man around here, but we have a gentleman who runs a pasta making company that needed to do a lot of prototyping of specific tools that he wanted to use in his kind of pasta making operation. So I don't want to say that it's a hard no, but it would really depend how you would mesh with the NextFab kind of equipment and facility things that we provide. So obviously you'd probably be a good candidate for the business coaching, but we're also looking for someone that'll come in and kind of activate the space that we have physically. So I think that's I think not a hard no, but not exactly what we're looking for. It really depends on your specific case and your specific needs, I would say. We try and this program is great because I feel like can very specifically focus on a small group of people, and it's not like scatter shot. You really get specific focused advice about exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. And I think you already said it, but just apply. You never know. It doesn't hurt to apply. It's free to apply. So cool. And this is kind of asked while you were going over some of the content this program covers. But this question was, do you help with setting up bookkeeping?
Yes. So not what we try to teach is we use Google Sheets, which is pretty much what Excel, it's more or less Excel, but it's free. And we kind of teach you how to look at your costs. So your fixed costs and your variable costs, you kind of, and you put together with one of our team members, with one of our instructors, your kind of financial worksheet. So you'll have the list of your fixed costs, your variable costs. You'll kind of put that in, and we do this as a collaborative activity with like the whole group. So everyone will just be like shouting out like, all right, the electric costs like, that's like a, you know, we have electric, we have like, I got to purchase packaging materials, I have to, you know, pay the rent, you know, and then we kind of put that into a spreadsheet and we separate it by fixed and variable costs. And then we kind of teach you how to project that over, you know, a full year. We do put some formulas in there as well that can help with just like you plug in one number and it kind of helps populate and fill some fields in the spreadsheet. And then what we do at the end of the course is we share out a template spreadsheet that you could use in your own business, just so you know kind of like where your margins are. You know, you might have like a really strong, you know, holiday season, you know, you might have a really strong December and you have like, you know, you're in the green, but then like sometimes there's a, you know, a downswing after the holidays. So, you know, just being aware that, or through this spreadsheet, you can make yourself more aware and actually see it concretely with actual numbers and not just like a feeling that, okay, during this time I have a lot of money, but then I need to like, you know, not be spending a lot for this period of time just because everything's going to be a little bit tighter. So yeah, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't call it bookkeeping, but we give you a spreadsheet and a template and the education about how to kind of get down to exactly where your money is, what money is coming in and what money is going out in your practice.
Awesome. So this next one is kind of more of a specific NextFab question. Do you have a flatbed printer capable of printing on a 1/4 inch plywood, 12 by 12?
A flatbed printer? No, not exactly. So I think what that call is, it's like direct to surface.
You froze for a minute.
Direct to surface printing. Or direct to substrate, excuse me. No, we do not have that style of printer. There are alternative methods to getting images onto plywood that aren't direct printing. We do have like a large we do have a vinyl printer and cutter, and we do have a like a photography caliber archival image printer that just prints on paper. But what you can do is like take the paper and laminate that to a piece of plywood. It really depends on another number of different factors about what material you want to use. Like if it's going outside, you can't necessarily do that. You want to use vinyl instead of like laminated paper. But in terms of that specific piece of equipment, no, we do not have exactly that, I would say. I know that the ones that I know about, I know like Philly U, or excuse me, it's not Philly U anymore, Jefferson, they have like a whole digital imaging lab. But I think you might need to be a student to get to print there. I think there's another, let me see. There's another, anyway, I'm rambling on here. We do not have that exact piece of equipment. I'm sorry.
Cool. Will we have access to these slides later? I didn't get to write down all the links you offered, especially the free resources, and they're a great list. Smiley face.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. The slides will be sent, and you'll also, if there's any follow-up about the slides, the email will go out through our like web server thing. Rebecca, you're the marketing for HubSpot. It'll go through like our contact marketing, our email list, and then you'll be provided with the artisan at NextFab, or an email that'll reach me and a few of my colleagues that we can, if you have any specific follow-up about maybe things that weren't asked during this, there's questions about the presentation. And in addition to that, you'll also get some of when we close the application window, we have a list of links that we send out of other programs that maybe have a broader range of businesses that they accept. So if you're doing something like opening like a restaurant and you need business advice, or you're developing like some kind of non-tangible thing, or you're just doing a business that might not necessarily fit our program, there are other resources in the area that are more catered to casting like a kind of a broader net, so to speak. So yeah, the long and short of it, yeah, you'll get the presentation.
Yep, we're hoping to send that out like tomorrow. So you should get soon. Cool. So next question, and feel free to keep dumping in those questions. Will we get to take classes to learn new skills that we have absolutely no experience with? Is there a cap on how many classes we can take?
Yeah, so we give you credits to redeem for education. So if you wanted to learn new skills, or if you wanted to take a class in areas that aren't necessarily that you want to learn aren't necessarily in your wheelhouse, that's about the 300 is what you can spend to get education from NextFab. So we have the rote list of classes that cover kind of machine basics, but also, for example, if you already know, say for example, you're already doing you're a jeweler, you're doing jewelry, you're doing stone setting, but you're working with the torch, but say for example you want to take a class on enameling, like we do have or if you want to learn a specific skill, we offer one-on-one training that is like, okay, I want to learn how to do like wax work and do like casting, or how to prepare a piece for casting, what kind of considerations you need to do for that. We also that's kind of, you can request training that's specific to the techniques you want to learn, or you can just take a basic class that's kind of an overview of specific processes. So it's kind of a dual fold there that's kind of set up for someone that maybe is more, is kind of practicing jewelry and they want to learn a specific skill that maybe one of our team members has. Or if you are a jeweler and say you want to learn like the laser cutter, we have like a class that just covers the laser cutter.
Cool. And I don't believe there's a cap. I think, you get the 300 credits, and I think you can pay for more if you wanted to. There's no cap on the classes you can take, right? How many?
Yeah, there is no cap. There is the $300 is what we give you as part of the program to kind of jumpstart the education. So and the classes vary from, I think, like the standard classes, like I think like 50, 59, but they go up to like 150, that area. And then if you're doing private training, that's like 60 an hour usually. But yeah, there's no cap on what you can take, but if after you reach that $300 limit, you'd be paying out of pocket for those classes.
Right, and this is like, it might be the last question. Do you have a website design guru / mentor who helps you tweak?
The gurus, I like that word. So we have a few folks that we could, tap to talk specifically about it depends on what area of the website you want to work on. But I think with the digital marketing kind of sales and marketing person that we're going to bring in for this version of the cohort, the way we have it formatted is that they will give a kind of general presentation about what they're doing, their background, their kind of area of expertise, and then talk a little bit about what they found to be successful. And then we will also they will also host office hours later on in the program. So you could bring your website or what the tweaks that you wanted to make to your website to this person. You could kind of have a discussion with them about what exactly the direction you want to pursue with it, and whether or not they think it's like a good idea, or kind of what they could make recommendations to kind of help you kind of like tune it in. So I think that's kind of where I would want that kind of area to be covered. But if it wasn't like enough for you, you don't feel like you got what you wanted out of those meetings or out of those interactions, there are other folks like in our network that we could put you in touch with. So it's kind of we think we have that covered. To the best of my knowledge, we have that covered, but I'm also open to if it's not working for you, like we can find someone that we can put you in touch with to kind of go over what you want to go over and feel confident that like the website is like the best that it kind of can be and working for you. And if that, when you go to the website and the sign up for the newsletter pops up right away, like if that's something you want to do, if that's something you don't want to do, a lot to be discussed.
Cool. So those are all the questions we had. I just want to thank Ben again for all of his insights. I see there's a question there. Sorry, Alan, about, it looks like you have your own program, but yeah, if you want to reply to that email that we send out, we can kind of chat a little bit more about that. Yeah, so thank you so much, Ben, for your insights. Like we had mentioned, we'll be sending out Ben's slide deck as well as this recording to everyone. Again, if you reply directly to that email, you want to ask Ben some questions or us, we'll make sure that gets to the right person. And then so go ahead. Oh,
I would just want to plug that we are doing second Thursday tonight from 6 to 8. So that's at the NextFab North Philadelphia location, 1800 North American. We're here. We got a cool art opening and a lot of the other businesses in the building are open. So the Center for Creative Works has a really cool opening and a t-shirt sale. The Resource Exchange is open. We have an architectural salvage place. I got like $70 worth of seltzers, so please come help me drink the seltzers. But yeah, if y'all want to come, if anyone's around tonight to come by, we'll be here from 6 to 8, hanging out, kind of open house style thing. Just have to plug that, Rebecca. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good. We
Were
have
you
a lot
gonna go
going
for
on
that?
at NextFab.
I'll be here, so you can meet me in
I'll be
person.
there too.
Yeah, Rebecca will be here too. So yeah.
Taking the screen in real life.
Yeah, the screen, it's you know, meeting someone in person is a lot, you know, fills in a lot of gaps usually.
Cool. So final 2 more last plugs, and then we'll release everyone. You know, we have, like Ben mentioned, we have another webinar next week. This is specifically for small businesses. It's on SEO and website. A local SEO expert and musician is actually going to come in and really talk about that. So if you're, I know we have a lot of instrument makers, so he's going to come and talk like, do you need SEO? How do you drive people to your website? So it's going to be really cool. Next Thursday at 1, go to that Eventbrite page, sign up. Again, it's free. And make sure you apply to the Artisan Accelerator. Just go to nextfab.com. It's at the top of the banner. All you do is click it, apply. But I think that's all we have for today. Thank you everyone for coming in, and go and apply to the Artisan Accelerator.
Cool. All right, y'all. Thank
Ben.
you. We'll until next time, we'll see you later. All right.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.